Excel users! Today I want to show you a trick that you can take a list of names, first names and last names that are alphabetized by first name and switch them to alphabetize the list by last name. So this came up when I was doing some grading for students, and I downloaded the grades, and the tool I had used had alphabetized everything by first name, and I needed to switch it. So we'll start with our list of made-up names, and I'm going to break down the different steps and one at a time explain them. The first step is to figure out the length in the user's name. So how many characters in their first name and their last name and the space in between. So I'll just do the length function, len, and I can click on the name to the left of it, and Ace K, which is just some made-up name, has 7 characters if you include the space. And I don't have to do that for any other names in the list. I can just use the fill handle, moving the cursor into the lower right-hand corner until it turns into this plus sign, and then drag it down. Next, I'm going to do a function that will determine where the space is inside of this name. So I'm going to use a different function, find, and I'm looking for a space. So I'll just put empty quotes with just a space in there. And I can use my mouse to click on the name, and it's going to find out that the space occurs in position 4 because the first letter or the first name Ace is just 3 characters. All right, and again I'll use the fill handle to figure out any other names in the list, because in real life I had like 100 students in all of my classes combined, and I don't want to type in the formulas 100 times. The next step is the length of just the last name. Well, if we know the length of the whole name, and we also know the length of the first name plus the space, then with subtraction we can figure out that the last name in this case is 3 characters, and use the fill handle and figure out how many characters in the last name for everybody in my list. And then finally I have all the tools I need to figure out. So I want to use a special function to go from the right side of the text, the right side of this text right here, and for me it's A2, and how many characters on the starting at the right hand side of the text do I want? Well, that was the number I just calculated, the length of the last name. So bam, I have the last name there. And I'm not suggesting that you do 4 different columns worth of data to figure out what the last name for somebody is. We can do that all in one step. So here I'm going to just redo those different steps only as a single formula. So I'm going to start out saying, well, I want to be on the right side of this text. And what text is it? For me now it's A18. And how many characters do I want? Well, here I'm going to first get the length of the whole name, and then I'm going to subtract if I were to find where that space is in this name, then I've got how many characters I want in the last name, and bam, now I've got my last name for each of the people in the list. But I had promised that we could sort them by last name, so I'm going to select both the column A with the full names and column B with just the last names, and I'm going to go over here to sorting and filtering. I'll do a custom sort here, and I want to sort on the last names, which was column B. So we'll go ahead and do that, and voila, now we have all our names sorted by last name instead of first name. And then you're really done with this. You can just delete this or leave this column if you want, but now I've got everything sorted by last name.